Good evening, and thank you for joining this live virtual telephone town hall meeting hosted by the Regional Transportation District, also known as RTD. I'm Roger. I'll be your moderator tonight as we have a conversation with RTD Director Julien Bouquet, who represents District G. District G includes most of Parker and Lone Tree and portions of Centennial, Aurora, and Castle Rock. We also have agency staff joining us to answer your questions, and they'll introduce themselves during the call. Tonight, we will be covering several topics, including customer safety initiatives, RTD's fare study and equity analysis, current recruitment efforts, and the next steps for Reimagine RTD. This is your opportunity to share your thoughts about RTD and ask questions. If this is your first time on a virtual telephone town hall, here's how it works. To ask a question, just press *3 on your telephone keypad, and you'll be transferred to an operator who will take down some basic information and get you in the queue. Once the operator has your information, you can listen to the conversation until it's your turn, and then when I call your name, please repeat your question for our live audience. We want to get to as many questions as possible tonight, so please be brief when you're asking your question. If you are participating online at rtd-denver.com/town hall, you can ask a question or take part in polls directly from the streaming player. And folks that are on social media can also watch this on YouTube, on RTD's YouTube page. And you can submit questions there as a comment, and we'll try to get to those as well. So in addition to answering questions live, we'll also ask 4 survey questions during the call. I'll explain that process later. So it's now my pleasure to introduce District G Director Julien Bouquet. Director, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Roger, and good evening to everyone who's tuning in. And I appreciate you all joining in on this conversation tonight. So as Roger spoke with, my name is Julien Bouquet. I am the RTD Director for District G, which is our southeast district in the entire Regional Transportation District. Currently, I am serving on the Operations and Safety Committee. I'm really impressed with the amount of work that has been accomplished. I'm currently on my I'm a year and a half into the RTD board role, and I have been very impressed of where RTD has gone in that year and a half. That's not to say that we aren't striving to make more progress, but it has been enjoyable working with our full-time staff and my fellow directors in accomplishing the goals that we've had so far. And it's good to see, as we are recovering from this pandemic, ridership coming back, folks getting back on the buses and trains. And, I'm very excited to see where the future is with RTD and the work that will happen going forward. I'm also excited to answer your questions and share important updates with you. Again, to ask a question, you need to press *3, or you can enter your question or your comment online. So, Roger, before we dive into our first topic, I'd love to learn a little bit about the folks who have joined us tonight. Let's ask our first survey question.
Thank you, Director. Let's do that. As Director Bouquet just mentioned, we'd like to learn a little bit about those of you joining us tonight. So it's easy to participate in our survey. All you need to do is use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. And if you're participating online, just type or click your response. So here's that question. How frequently do you ride RTD services? Press 1 for every day. Press 2 for once or twice a week. Press 3 for once or twice a month. Press 4 if you ride a few times per year. And press 5 if you do not currently ride any of RTD's services. Please record your vote now. We'll share the results with you in a moment. And again, if you have a question or comment, just press *3 on your keypad. And if you're participating online, just ask a question directly from the streaming player. There has been a lot of news coverage about safety concerns in the Denver metro area. I'd like to ask Steve Martingano, interim chief of RTD's Transit Police Division, to introduce himself and talk a little bit about what RTD is doing to help improve safety on transit and at RTD stations and bus stops. Chief, welcome.
Thanks, Roger. As mentioned, I'm Steve Martingano. Right now, I'm the interim chief of police for the RTD Transit Police Division. Just a quick little background. I've been in law enforcement for 29 years, and I've been with RTD for just over 6.5 years in some type of supervisory role. One of the things we've been hearing a lot is our customer concerns about inappropriate behavior they are seeing pretty much around the city and on our systems. As mentioned earlier, more and more people are using transit, coming back to the office, and, maybe a night at the town. I mean, this past weekend we had a great, sporting events going on, as well as the Luke Combs concerts. We had a lot of riders. Really, really great to see the large amount of customers that are utilizing RTD to come downtown, have a safe night, and get back home. So I will tell you that safety and security is our top priority at RTD. Every day, our RTD staff workers, they work very hard to make sure customers get to their destination safely. And we all know one of our area concerns is the unwanted activities around the Denver Union Station. We understand that. We've been hearing about that. So our CEO reached out to the city and county of Denver and the mayor's office. And in April, we really joined a nice collaboration with the city officials and put a lot of work towards developing security enhancements to the bus concourse. Right now, in the short term, we're doing small things like lighting. We went out there with a lighting meter to see how much illumination we needed just to have certain spots that were a little bit darker. So we've been doing a lot of that. We changed some entrance and exit points. They're going to be converted to emergency exits to allow for better pedestrian flow. And then our cleaning crew does an amazing job to begin with, but they're doing double duties just to make sure that they're getting some really deep cleaning and to make more areas comfortable for our customers to visit and sit on our benches and such. But this is really a long-term solution. And over the next 12 to 16 months, you're going to see a lot of changes and a lot of activity. One of the things we're going to try to make our bus terminal a paid fare area. And that means our customers are going to have to produce tickets to show that they're getting on a bus, and it's going to allow us to restrict the access to make sure that our customers are utilizing the bus terminal. So this is going to be a huge redesign of the area. It's projected to cost anywhere to $10 to $15 million. We recognize that these are very expensive upgrades, and one of our strategic priorities is financial success, and RTD takes that very seriously of the management of our financial resources. So this project's no exception. So we're actually going to utilize $20 million funding that was part of our credit risk premium, was part of the original investment into Union Station, and it was used to implement and construct design improvements to enhance the customer experience when you're utilizing the station.
Thank you, Chief. Director, how can customers stay up to date on these changes that Chief just talked about?
Yeah, thank you, Roger. So RTD launched a webpage dedicated to providing updates on the facility enhancements that have been going on at Denver Union Station. So if anyone is interested in looking at that webpage, you can reach it at rtd-denver.com/project/restoring-dus. Again, that's rtd-denver.com/project/restoring-dus. So customers can also sign up for a newsletter on the website as well. In addition to the enhancements at Denver Union Station, RTD is making other changes to make sure that our customers are safe when traveling. And Chief, would you want to talk about those changes?
Yeah, absolutely, Director. So in March, when I took over as the interim police chief, one of the very first things I did was I broke our police division up into 4 impact teams. We have officers just dedicated to buses, where you're going to see them highly visible at bus stops and riding buses throughout our system. Another team was broken up and placed as a rail impact team. So you're going to see them on platforms, whether it be the light rail or the commuter rail, as well as on the trains. We also have a community engagement team where they are going out and they're going to really be involved in neighborhood community meetings and groups. And reaching out to local police agencies, try to ask them for assistance with some of the issues that they're noticing that might be RTD related. And the last one is our mental health and homeless outreach impact team. For those that don't know, RTD was the very first public transportation agency that had a co-responder program where we placed mental health clinicians with police officers, and they go out and they contact individuals that are experiencing mental health episodes. Right now, we have 4 mental health clinicians that were contracted with WellPower, which was formerly known as Mental Health Center Denver. And then we also received a federal grant where we have a homeless outreach coordinator, and that individual, who used to be a bus operator, which is amazing, with a background in social work, is now our homeless outreach coordinator. He goes out and he contacts all the local police agencies and counties to try to assist in going to encampments and directing people to the proper outreach services for the help that they may need. We also utilize secondary employment officers from local police jurisdictions, and in those, that probably the first space that you'll see is our contracted security. So we have a large contract security team where we're allocated up to 295 security officers. So again, like I mentioned, those partnerships along with the local police departments really help RTD quickly respond to customer safety issues.
Chief, sometimes we get calls from customers who wonder why the commuter rail lines, including both the A and G lines, have armed security on each train, but light rail lines do not always have an officer or security personnel on board. Why is that?
That's a great question. And the reason why is the Federal Railroad Administration, also known as FRA, they require a second crew member to be present on all commuter rail vehicles, which is the A, B, G, and the N line that goes to Thornton. The reason is because of the larger rail cars, and they also they're on tracks that we share with large railroad agencies. So for that reason, we need a second crew member. RTD back in the day, they hired the second crew member. They contracted with the security contract. That's why you see armed security officers on those current commuter rails. We don't have that same requirement on the light rail. We have a lot more light rail cars and a lot more light rail service. So we just don't have the staffing to put somebody on every single light rail. But that does not mean that we don't secure those areas. We have like I mentioned earlier, our rail impact team, as well as our security contract. They go out and they're on all the alignments, checking fares and ensuring our customers travel safely. But really what's the best thing to get security officers or our police to you is to utilize our Transit Watch app. So we have a free app. It's called RTD Transit Watch. It's available on both the Apple and Android platforms, and it allows our customers to report security and safety concerns easily and discreetly. So it's a text-based system. We all know that people are riding our vehicles. Sometimes they're in closed quarters. We don't want them, speaking out loud and telling something that's happening and drawing attention to themselves. So this app is text-based, and you're able to go ahead and send a text, and then we'll send the resources to try to assist you on that. If you obviously don't have the ability to utilize that app, you can give us a call at 303-299-2911. No matter how you contact our Transit Police Division, what we ask you to do is be as specific as possible in reporting a situation. Include the location if you know which direction you're going on, what type of vehicle you're on, and the description of the persons involved, as well as, really detail that situation like I mentioned earlier. And when you submit an incident report, you are helping our team resolve the situations and provide information that helps us determine where we should really be redeploying our resources effectively.
All right, thank you, Steve. Again, you can download the Transit Watch app on both your Apple and Android smartphones. And if you don't have a smartphone, you can always call RTD's Transit Police at 303-299-2911. Before we get to some questions, let me tell you the results of our first survey question. We asked, how frequently do you ride RTD services? 43% said a few times a year, 15% do not currently ride RTD, and 14% each said on every day, once or twice a week, and once or twice a month. We'll have some more questions coming up. Thank you very much for your input. We are working hard to be environmentally friendly and help reduce pollution and congestion. For those of you that are not currently using transit, RTD continues to work hard to improve services and increase the number of you using transit instead of driving. So give us a try. All right, let's take some questions. Again, it's so easy to participate. Just press *3 on your phone or enter it online. We'll go to Richard first. Richard, go ahead.
Hi, Julian. This question's probably for you. So my question is when was the last time you rode an RTD bus or train, and how was your experience?
Excellent. Thank you very much for the question, Richard. So I believe it was actually 2 weekends ago. My go-to service for RTD is actually probably the E line that goes northbound. My wife and I and some friends, we went and enjoyed our evening downtown. And then the last time we actually rode a bus was using the free mall ride to get around the downtown area. To be honest, I actually thought our experience went very well. It was excellent to see, especially because there wasn't really too many events going on. It was excellent to see that, our trains had more riders than I was expecting. So that was excellent to see. And overall, I would actually say my ride on the E-Line and on our free mall ride went pretty well. We have a very accessible system.
All right, thank you, Director. Let's go to an online question from Andrea. She writes, I often travel alone on RTD. What should I do if I'm suddenly in a situation that makes me feel unsafe? Chief, that might be a good one for you.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Andrea, great question. And again, I had said it earlier, please download that RTD Transit Watch app. It is a great tool to use if you're traveling by yourself and you are seeing something that you may feel is a suspicious incident or just not feeling comfortable. You go ahead and send something in that text-based app and send it. It'll go right to our police dispatch center. So for those that don't know, we have 2 police dispatch centers. One deals mostly with the commuter rail and our bus rapid system, which is the Flatiron Flyer, and the other transit police dispatch center does our light rail and buses. And again, if you tell exactly what's happening, what you're seeing, then we know which resources to send. If we don't have someone that's close by, then our dispatch centers, like I had mentioned earlier, we work very closely with the local police department and county sheriffs. If we don't have someone available, we think it's going to be a delay for one of our police officers or our security to get there, we will go ahead and we will contact those local police jurisdictions and ask for assistance.
All right. Good question so far. Thank you. Again, press *3. If you're on the phone, we'd love to hear from you. And you can enter a question directly online through the streaming player on our website. We're going to move on to our next topic for tonight's call, RTD's FAIR study and equity analysis. Carl, would you introduce yourself and provide us an update?
I'd be happy to, Roger. Thank you. So again, my name is Carl Green, Jr., manager of the Transit Equity Office within the Civil Rights Division. I'm also serving as the Deputy Project Manager of the System-Wide FAIR Study and Equity Analysis. What can I say? I'm glad to be here tonight to provide our community in District G with an update. So we've heard from our customers that our current fare structure is expensive and confusing to use. One of our strategic priorities is customer excellence, where we strive to deliver consistent, high-quality customer service. The FAIR study and equity analysis will help us identify areas where we can improve the customer experience when taking transit. This project looks to understand customers' opinions and preferences on current RTD fares and how RTD can improve them. To date, RTD has hosted 2 public meetings, including 1 conducted in Spanish, as well as 3 customer feedback panels. In addition, we invited customers to provide feedback on the current fare structure using a survey, and this survey was made available in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. Overall, we received over 2,400 responses.
Carl, is the community engagement for the FAIR study over now? And where is RTD in the process currently?
That's a great question, Director. So the FAIR study and equity analysis will continue through 2022 and into 2023. And what I can say is we are taking a multifaceted customer and community-centric approach to this study, and we will have multiple opportunities for our community to engage throughout this process. So we are expected to have our recommendation for the Board of Directors to review in the spring of 2023. But as I mentioned earlier, there will be a number of opportunities for our customers to share their ideas and to provide their insight and their perspectives. So throughout the summer, customers will be able to get involved in the evaluation of conceptual fair options as well as the trade-offs that are being considered when we're evaluating alternatives to the current fair structure. So our upcoming meetings will take place on June 23rd and June 29th, and more information can be found on the website. But what I want to mention before I get into the details of that is that in the fall, RTD will connect with the public once more to get more feedback on a refined list of fair alternatives before any changes to the fair products go into effect. Again, there will be a public hearing process where the public can see the final proposed changes and offer their feedback.
So where can people learn more about this process, Carl?
Yeah, so customers that are interested in offering feedback can sign up for updates on RTD's website by going to www.rtd-denver.com/fair study. Again, there's a number of different opportunities. You could stay engaged through our customer and community meetings. We'll have another survey in the fall, and it's an opportunity for our community to take a frontline seat, if you will, to stay engaged in the process and being able to help inform where does RTD go with an evaluation of our fairs and what does our fair look like in 2023 and beyond. So as a reminder, RTD currently offers discounted fares for youth, people with disabilities, and seniors. We also offer discounts which are available to low-income residents as part of the LIVE program. And for folks that need more information as far as our current fair products, you can visit www.rtd-denver.com/fairs, and that's FARES -passes/discount/fairs. So please stay tuned on a number of different opportunities to stay engaged throughout the RTD Fair Study process.
All right, thank you, Carl. Let's take a moment to ask our second survey question. For callers, please use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. And if you're participating online, just type or click your response. Here's that question. Do you believe that RTD fairs should be more affordable, even if it results in less service? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no, and press 3 if you're not sure. Go ahead and record your vote. We'll share the results with you shortly. And let's get back to some questions. And again, *3, it's easy to participate. Just press *3, and we've got an operator standing by. Let's go to an online question from Caleb. How does RTD define equity? Pretty simple question, but it isn't, is it, Carl?
Yes, excellent question, Caleb, and I'll be glad to provide a response to that question. Equity works toward and promotes the fair distribution of resources and opportunities with a strong emphasis on historically underrepresented communities and Title VI protected populations. So this is rooted in the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And what that means for RTDs and what's embedded within our functional mission is that we work to achieve transit equity. And per that, RTD strives to ensure that plan changes will not negatively impact customers based on race, color, or national origin, or if low-income populations will bear a disproportionate burden of the changes. So essentially what that means is prior to making a change, whether that is a fare change or a service change, we are working to ensure that if there are going to be any negative impacts on these said populations, that we are working to either mitigate or minimize or avoid those negative impacts. So an integral component of the system-wide fare study and equity analysis is to ensure that we take an equitable approach to evaluate our fare alternatives prior to implementing a new fare structure or making any changes to our past programs. So I hope that answers your question, Caleb.
Great, thank you. So here are the results of our second survey question. We asked, do you believe that RTD fares should be more affordable, even if it results in less service? 75% said no, and 25% of you said not sure. We'll have a couple more questions here in just a moment. We do appreciate your participation. For those of you that joined us late this evening, good evening. This is a live virtual telephone town hall hosted by the Regional Transportation District, also known as RTD. I'm Roger, your moderator, and we are talking with District G Director Julien Bouquet. We also have agency staff joining to answer your questions. And so as a reminder, to ask a question live, press *3 on your telephone keypad. If you're participating online at rtd-denver.com/town hall, you can ask a question or take part in polls directly from the streaming player. Let's go back and ask some more questions. We're going to take an online question from Ava. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Shannon, what is RTD doing about people experiencing homelessness at transit hubs like Denver Union Station? Chief or Director, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Roger. Oh, sorry. Say again, Roger.
Just jump in there, whoever would like to take that question.
Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy to take it. So assembled a homeless task force consisting of staff who collaborate with social service agency. We have currently 3 clinicians on board to help with our RTD transit officers. We have hired a homeless service coordinator, and this position really helps to connect people to the services that they really need. I'm happy to, turn it over to the chief too if he wants to add on to what else is happening specifically with our transit hub with DUS.
Yeah, thanks, Director. Just like the Director had stated, we do have a mental health clinicians and our homeless outreach coordinator, but we also work very, very closely with the city and county of Denver. And on Wednesdays, and this Wednesday coming up, we're actually closing down the 17th Street between Chestnut and Wawata Street, so people know that area. The Whole Foods is on one side, and then there's an apartment building on the other. We're actually going to close that street down, and we're going to have a lot of groups coming to assist individuals experiencing homelessness. I think they might have brought some stylists to cut hair. They're going to be handing out clothing and a lot of resources, a lot of questions on how to get housing. So they're bringing a lot of resources over there that on this upcoming Wednesday to talk about housing, how individuals could get into housing programs. The city and county of Denver gives a lot of resources towards housing, and it's great that people are looking to see how to take advantage of that. And the last thing that's going to be brought over there is the Denver Public Library has a bookmobile, and you would think it's just hands out books, but it actually has the ability for individuals to do virtual court. So a lot of homeless individuals might not, be able to get to their court dates, might not know when their court dates are because they might have misplaced their tickets. So what this allows is individuals that think they might have a court date or might have a warrant based off of a small crime, they're able to go ahead and access virtually the court and talk to a judge and get their cases adjudicated right there from that bookmobile. So some really great programs, a lot of initiatives, and a lot of great ideas brought out there to really assist this population get the services and resources they need.
All right, thank you. Let's go to our third survey question. Again, just use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response, and if you're participating online, use your either click or type in your response. So here's the question: what factor would increase your likelihood of taking RTD services the most? So press 1 for more affordable fares. Press 2 for a system where you feel safe. Press 3 for more frequent bus and train service. Press 4 for more service coverage in your area. And while you're recording your vote, I'm going to ask Director Bouquet to introduce our next topic. Would increase your likelihood of taking RTD services the most? So press 1 for more affordable fares. Press 2 for a system where you feel safe. Press 3 for more frequent bus and train service. Press 4 for more service coverage in your area. And while you're recording your vote, I'm going to ask Director Bouquet to introduce our next topic.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Roger. So let's talk about people power. So at RTD, we have a workforce of over 3,500 employees. We have positions including bus operators and rail operators, mechanics, administrative staff, and, much, much more. Tegan, would you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about our workforce?
Sure. Thank you, Director. This is Tegan Rice. I'm the Senior Rail Service Planner with RTD in Denver. So I'm the one that does the scheduling of the rail schedules and makes adjustments for events, train sizes, all of that fun stuff. And one of RTD's strategic priorities is employee ownership. So we're seeking to attract and keep a highly skilled and engaged workforce. We're in the business to move people and keep our transit system reliable, and we have an extreme shortage of people to work for us, especially including operators for bus and rail and mechanics. So I'm begging and pleading that if you know or have any friends or family that would be interested in working for RTD, we are offering a $4,000 signing bonus. And there are many other positions that are open if you know anybody interested in applying.
Director, what are some of the benefits that you would like to talk about or share for those considering joining RTD?
Excellent. Yeah, Roger. So, I was really excited to see our new collective bargaining agreement that was signed by ATU Local 1001 and RTD that happened back in February of this year. So it offers additional benefits to employees with positions that are covered under the union. RTD offers competitive wages, education allowances, an excellent retirement savings plan, and paid in-house training programs. That's just a couple. And what you may not know, RTD also offers an extensive training program where you can learn to operate a train. So if you are interested in being a bus operator, we'll help you get a commercial driver's license or CDL. Individuals interested in joining RTD are encouraged to review any of the open positions on RTD's website, which is www.rtd-denver.com/careers. Again, that's www.rtd-denver.com/careers. And if you don't see a position you are interested in now, make sure to check back often. We always have something new. Roger, why don't we pause for a couple questions, actually?
All right, let's do that. Why don't I share the results of our third survey question before we go to your questions. Again, we asked what factor would increase your likelihood of taking RTD services the most. And a pretty good majority of you said more frequent bus and train service. We're not surprised to hear that, and also more service in your area was also a top one. Let's hear from Richard next. Richard, go ahead. You're live.
Oh, hi. Yes. So the question is, bus route 483 is the main way, with the exception of the commuter P buses. Route 483 is the main way to get into Parker on RTD, either connecting with the train at both ends. Are there any plans to make improvements to this route, be that frequency, journey time, or anything else?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question, Richard. Yeah, I know that our Route 483 and our Route P, I was excited to see those, return, during this pandemic recovery. I might turn it over potentially to our full-time staff to answer any questions regarding any improvements specifically for the 483. And if anyone potentially might have an answer for Richard there, it would be greatly appreciated.
This is Tegan Rice in Service Development. I would have to say that I don't specifically know for the 483 because that would be the East Team route. But I would recommend looking at the Reimagine and see if there's any mention of the changes to the 483 on the RTD website. If you go into, I think it's under projects for the Reimagine plan. Currently, due to our workforce issues within RTD, I know any near-time changes are dependent on our ability to have enough operators to run regular service.
All right. Thank you for that. Let's hear next from a question that was submitted online. Ava said, I'm interested in the $4,000 signing bonus for working with RTD. Is this bonus available for all jobs?
This is Tegan again in service development, and to my knowledge, the $4,000 sign-on bonus only applies to mechanics, bus and mechanics for both bus, rail, and I think even white fleet. So the service vehicles for like our supervisors to get out to bus routes and train routes, and then as well as the bus and rail operators, and I think service and cleaning is another one that's included with the $4,000 sign-on bonus. It was primarily to attract people for the union positions that we struggle to attract people to apply.
Thank you. And again, rtd-denver.com/careers. You can find all sorts of information about jobs available and open. Let's switch now and talk about Reimagine RTD, the agency's plan for the next 5 years. At RTD, we strive to be a strong community partner by providing value to customers as well as to the broader Denver metro region. And this is really our first strategic priority, and the Reimagine RTD initiative falls under this priority. Reimagine RTD is a planning process to develop and address transit challenges, as well as answer the question of what's next for RTD. Certainly no surprise, current challenges include reduction in ridership resulting from COVID-19 and limited options for increasing consistent funding in the future. Reimagine RTD provides a framework to guide future service decision-making for the district using two key components. One is a system optimization plan, or SOP, redesign of RTD services to balance the needs of the traveling public with the financial realities facing the agency. And the second is a mobility plan for the future. That's going to identify long-term strategies between really now and like 2050 to address the region's future mobility needs. RTD just completed the SOP, which looks at the near term within 5 years, and the majority requested additional service, which we just heard back from the survey that you all answered. Other areas identified will be monitored for future consideration. We took public and stakeholder comments and evaluated them, and if they were feasible, adjustments will be made to the SOP. Implementation will be phased in over 5 years through 2027, and it will be dependent on our availability of operator resources. RTD is also developing a mobility plan for the future. As I mentioned, that's long-term through 2050, and hopefully the board is expecting to act on the final SOP and determine how to move forward and accept the mobility plan for the future at their July meeting. That's a lot. There's also just great information on the website, so check that out if you'd like more information. Let's take an online question. Here we go. Sarah said, I heard that my ride card is changing and going to a different system. Will my ride cards be going away? Let's try to address that question.
I'm happy to take it. I'll go for it.
Go right ahead.
Okay, perfect. So the implementation of the account-based ticketing, the ABT, will require updates and new equipment across the RTD system. This will include, new validators, updated RTD mobile tickets app, new MyRide smart cards, new devices for our fare inspectors. So the current MyRide customers will need to transfer their balance to an RTD mobile tickets account to use their phone or on their new MyRide card to pay for the fares. So as we get closer to the roll of this new system, RTD will be sending out extensive communication, on all the new changes and instructions that will be happening.
Terrific. Thank you. Director, Tegan, I subscribe to RTD service alerts, and sometimes there are cancellations of my route. What is RTD doing to mitigate these cancellations?
Well, unfortunately, we do have the workforce shortage, so we try to cover all the work that we can with the extra board operators. So those are spare operators that are sitting in the divisions and are sent out. But unfortunately, if we do get a cancellation and we don't have the operators, we try to send out, our system can send out the notifications as long as it's within 30 minutes of the first trip for that operator's route. Because typically when we do have a dropped run, they're not drop trips back to back because, for example, Director Bouquet's E-line, if one trip is dropped or one run is dropped, that would be one of every 7 trips in the north and southbound direction that trips would be dropped. And if we do unfortunately have an operator that cannot cover the first or last trip of a run or a route, we make sure that we have somebody else cover the last trip in order to make sure that we're not leaving people stranded at stations at the end of the night. But yeah, I subscribe to the service alerts, and I think they've updated the system now to get text messages. I haven't gotten them yet, but I still get the emails. And also, the Next Ride app has also been updated so that when trips are canceled, the trip planner doesn't tell you to take a trip that's not operating at that time.
Thank you for that update. That's very helpful. I've got another online question here, and it is from Terry. Terry says, I submitted comments earlier this year to be included in the Reimagine RTD plan when the comment period was open. What will RTD do with the comments they received? I don't want to take that. I understand we had about 1,600 comments, so really terrific input. Carl or Tegan, do you have any comments about just how generally those comments were considered and included or not included in the Reimagine process?
I can take a stab at it first. This is Tegan. So I know the Long Range Planning Department looked at every single individual comment that was submitted by the public through the comment intake process, and I believe some changes were made. They haven't shared what those changes are with service development yet for all of them, or if so, I wasn't included because there weren't very many comments in regard to rail, but I believe they met with the service development team to see about modifying different routes. Some changes can or cannot be made either due to turning movements for the buses. So if somebody suggested an alternative routing, it had to be assessed by the bus operations team to see if it was practical, if there was a sidewalk, and other amenities required to add a bus stop in order to warrant changing the route.
Terrific. Let's take one more question online, and that came in from Irene. What type of discounts does RTD offer, and do we need to apply or qualify?
I could take on that question, Roger. And thank you very much, Irene. So as far as the type of discounts that RTD offers, there's a number of them, which I mentioned earlier, but I'll go into a little bit more detail since we have a little bit of time here, and glad to answer the question. So we offer, again, several discounted pass programs on regular bus and train service, each of which have various eligibility requirements, and those are, for one of them, our youth discount, which provides a 70% discount for youth ages 6 through 19, and the passenger must have a current middle or high school ID or government-issued photo ID showing the passenger's age, or they can reach out to RTD to get a youth special discount card. And then we also have a senior discount, which provides 50% fare discount for people ages 65 and over, and seniors must present a photo ID showing passenger's age, their Medicare card, or an RTD-issued special discount card. And for discounts for individuals with disability, we also provide a 50% fare discount for individuals with disabilities on regular bus and train service. And individuals with disabilities must present a Medicare card or, again, an RTD-issued SDC as proof of eligibility. We also have a low-income fare discount program, which we provide a 40% fare discount, and participants qualify if they are between the ages of 20 and 64, live within the RTD service area, and have a household income at or below 185% of the federal poverty level. LIVE applications are processed through the PEAK system, and it provides the state public benefits website, and a LIVE card must be shown to get the discount. So as you can imagine, we have a number of varying discount programs that we offer to our customers and our community, predicated on eligibility requirements, and that's all we have as far as our discounted program.
Roger, if you're okay, I might jump in here real quick, going back to Richard's question regarding the Route 483. So it's looking like, based on the system optimization plan, that SOP, it's looking like proposed weekday service span to be lengthened, and then weekend hourly service is to be added to improve our service availability. Again, that's going back to Richard's question regarding the 483.
Perfect. Thank you, Director. All right, let's ask our final survey question. Again, just use your telephone keypad or enter your response online. Here is the question. How satisfied are you with RTD services overall? Press 1 for very satisfied. Press 2 for satisfied. Press 3 for somewhat dissatisfied. And press 4 for very dissatisfied. Director, we're almost out of time this evening. What else would you like to share with our audience about RTD and maybe your district specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did want to provide a quick update on our transition to account-based ticketing, kind of mentioned earlier. So over the summer, RTD will be changing out ticket validators on our buses and station platforms, so that ADT is a ticketless way of allowing people to travel on public transportation. And this is simply where customers tap or scan a secure token, kind of like a smart card. So think of the MyRide card when you think about this, or on a mobile device or credit card. So the new system will implement fare capping, a fare policy that ensures customers always pay the best fare regardless of when or how they pay for their trips, which, as I've heard from many of my choice riders down here in District G, I think that's going to help out a lot when it comes down to potential fare confusion. So specifically, I think we touched on a lot when it comes down to, our district interests. It was interesting to see from our survey question about the idea of, folks wanting more services coming down here in District G, and that's what we're striving for with us going forward. As you can see, as we mentioned with the 483 at the SOP, trying to ultimately improve that service, making it more accessible for folks. And, I think systems, kind of what we've gone over today, you're seeing all the working forces and our full-time staff, RTD, doing their absolute best, putting in their absolute effort to make this system as efficient as possible. So yes, I think the big thing that I could get from this evening, and as Roger had mentioned before, again, there's a lot of choice riders, but give us a ride. Try out RTD services. Take the E-line to a baseball game, or to go see a concert, or take the Route P to get into work, or take the 483 to connect you to all our light rail systems. But I think that's the biggest thing I could tell all my District G constituents is, try a ride, try it out, see how you like it, because I think we're making a lot of strides where we're going.
Director, can you or someone tell me a little bit more about fare capping? I'm not sure I have heard that before.
Yeah. So going back to fare capping. So, and I'm happy for any full-time staff to go into any more details about it. From my understanding of it is basically making sure that customers are going to be paying what is, the fairest fare, what is going to be their best fare when it comes down to which rides they're choosing. I might rely on the full-time staff potentially to go a little bit deeper if you have any other follow-up comments with it.
Yes, I'd be happy to weigh in, Director. So as it relates to fare capping, it's also sometimes called best fare. And how this occurs, it accumulates the fares deducted for single trips into period passes. And in the case of RTD, accumulating fares for 3-hour trips into day or monthly passes. And as a result, customers can more or less take advantage of the benefits of period passes without paying the full amount up front and have the peace of mind that they are receiving the best fare. So again, as the Director mentioned, fare capping will be part of the ABT fare collection, which will be implemented in the summer of 2022, so probably around the August timeframe.
Perfect. Thank you, Carl. Let's do one more question from online, and that came in from. See, I'm sorry, I can't find it now. Okay, June, and she asked, "What does RTD do to maintain cleanliness on buses and trains?" I know that's a top of mind still for folks. Who would like to answer her question?
This is Tegan in service development. I can speak personally. I started with RTD in service and cleaning, so they have a dedicated team that cleans the buses and trains at night. They wipe down all of the handrails, and they even have a disinfectant for the seats that they will spray on there, which cleans and disinfects. And in some instances, it's not in some instances, actually they have a cycle of how many vehicles get a deep clean. So I remember scrubbing the floors and shampooing the seats. So they do get those within a cycle as well.
Right, thank you. First-hand experience there. Let's give you the results of our final survey question. Again, we asked, how satisfied are you with RTD services overall? And it was split just about evenly between satisfied and somewhat dissatisfied. So somewhat satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied. We're always working really hard to make sure everyone is satisfied with our services, and we really appreciate events like this to get your input and feedback and comments. We appreciate everyone that has provided comments tonight. So we are just about the end of our hour. Director, do you have some final thoughts or closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you very much, Roger. I just wanted to thank everyone, for participating tonight and, listening in. It's great to see that there is community engagement. I guess the big parts that I would like to hit, is we have made a lot of progress as we have gone through the recovery that's been happening for the last 1.5 to 2 years. That's not to say there's a lot of progress that we have to make. One of the biggest things, and looking again at that polling information, can't stress it enough, as some of our staff have already mentioned, it really comes down to, we're people moving people here at RTD, and we need the people. So again, if this is a career that you want to enter, if this is potentially something that is interesting you, if you've ever wanted to be, bus or train operator, I can't encourage you enough, because service is going to be dependent on our operators. And, that's what we keep hearing as a board of directors. We keep hearing that more and more, of how reliant we are on our operators. They are our lifeblood of our system. So if you know anyone or yourself who, wants to get involved with RTD, you can make the connection. You can make the connection that to increase service or wanting service adjustments, you're going to need those operators, and I can't thank all of the staff that have been on here tonight, providing their answers and looking all the diligent work that's being done with RTD. I think our system optimization plan, and especially for District G, is going in the right direction with, changes in service to try to optimize our, our 483 and, our Route P. And again, try it out. I guess that would be my last words to my constituents. I know there are a lot of choice riders down in District G. But, just to try out one ride, just to try out either a ride on the E-line, like I said, going downtown, taking the Route P to commute to work, taking the 43 as a connection route. I think it's going to be very important for people, to actually experience the system firsthand for themselves, and to see, where we've, made progress with RTD. Again, I appreciate hearing all your comments and all your questions, and I look
your question tonight, but you can still leave us a message, question, or comment. Just stay on the line. On behalf of Director Bouquet, our panelists tonight, and the hardworking public servants at RTD, thank you for taking part in this conversation. Have a great evening. Good night.